going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite.
Dan Campbell just stepped up to that podium after a heartbreaking 16-14 preseason loss to the Bengals. And honestly, Lions fans, his comments gave us more to chew on than the game itself did. Because here's the thing about preseason football, nobody tells you enough. The scoreboard means almost nothing, but what your head coach says afterward means almost everything. And Campbell did not disappoint. He came out swinging with praise, honesty, and a few laugh-out-loud one-liners that only he could deliver. So let's break down everything Dan Campbell told us after this loss, because there is a lot here. Campbell opened up by saying he genuinely thought his guys competed out there, and that a lot of players took the coaching straight onto the field, which, if you know Campbell at all, is basically the highest compliment he can give in August. He specifically called out a handful of standout moments, starting with rookie defensive lineman Gill-Howard chasing down the quarterback on a critical 4th down to force a turnover on downs and hand the ball right back to the offense.
I thought a lot of those guys took the coaching to the field, something we really wanted to see. Overall, there were some guys I thought really showed up, just off of the hit, man. Black's catch over there on the sideline. I thought that was outstanding. It was a hell of a throw by Altmaier. His play to go up and make it. I know they threw the flag, but that was, 8 out of 10 times.
Campbell lit up talking about that play, saying it's the kind of little detail that takes tremendous effort, and it's exactly what's expected from these young guys trying to make a name for themselves. He also brought up a big hit from a player named Cooper, calling it a bang-bang play that honestly could have gone either way with the officials, and admitting that if the flag had actually been thrown and enforced, it probably would have stood. But Campbell wasn't mad about it. In fact, he loved the physicality of it. That's the kind of aggressive, competitive football this coaching staff wants to see, penalty or not. Then there's the play that's about to be all over Lions highlight reels. Tarek Black's sideline catch.
Most of it. So I like where he's at. He does have some juice, and there again, because we lived with him last year, he can play some special teams, and that's going to be big for that next role because.
But outstanding, giving major credit to rookie quarterback Luke Altmaier for the throw, saying it was a heck of a ball to drop into that tight of a window. Yes, there was a flag on the play, but Campbell brushed that off too, joking that if you complete that throw 8 out of 10 times, you'll take it every single time. And of course, that same connection between Altmaier and Black would come up again later in the game when Black hauled in the touchdown that got Detroit right back into it. Speaking of standout performers, Campbell specifically singled out edge rusher Ahmed Hassanein, saying he was disruptive and made a lot of plays throughout the night. If you've been following our camp coverage, you already know Hassanein has quietly been one of the bigger training camp rises this offseason, and tonight he took that momentum straight into a real game. Campbell said he wasn't even surprised by the performance, explaining that the way Hassanein has been practicing, and the traits has shown, made it feel like this kind of outing was coming. His words exactly. The guy plays with maximum effort, he's disruptive, and is only going to keep getting better from here. Cornerback Roger Rakestraw also got a nod from Campbell, with the coach saying he did some good things out there at corner. It was a brief mention, but in a league where roster spots are won and lost on exactly these kinds of small, consistent flashes, every mention matters. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. Campbell was refreshingly honest about what went wrong, and the number one issue on his mind was penalties. He said flat out that the team played sloppy, particularly on offense, and that Detroit essentially shot itself in the foot all night long. The offense struggled mightily on 3rd down, and Campbell pointed to drops and penalties as the two culprits behind that. But he wasn't panicking about it either. His attitude was pretty simple. It's the first preseason game. There's plenty to learn from, and these guys will get better as camp rolls on. There was also a quick, slightly tense moment in the press conference about an injury. A reporter asked about a player who reportedly took hits to both shoulders during the game, and Campbell, working off limited information since he doesn't have eyes on every single angle during the game itself, clarified that the player actually took a hit from his own teammate a few snaps before the play in question. Campbell said it wasn't a head injury, more like the guy got some temporary numbness in his arm, and the expectation is that he'll be just fine. Nothing to panic about, but definitely a moment worth keeping an eye on as the team reviews the tape. Let's talk about the guy Campbell seemed most excited about all night, running back Jacob Saylors. When a reporter brought up Saylors' name, Campbell didn't hold back even a little. He said, and this is basically a direct quote, that Saylors was probably the most potent player Detroit had on offense all night. Campbell praised him as the steady workhorse early in the game, saying that whatever positive plays Detroit did put together offensively, Sailors had his hands in most of them. And here's the part that should get every fan excited about his roster chances. Campbell explicitly connected Sailors' game day performance to his special teams value, pointing out that with the top 2 running back spots already accounted for and veteran special teamer Craig Reynolds, referred to affectionately as Vakey, already established as one of the best special teams players in the entire league, that 4th running back spot is going to require someone who can contribute in the kicking. Game 2. Campbell's exact message. If that 4th back is going to make this roster, he has to help on special teams. And after tonight, it's looking more and more like Sailors checks every single box. Campbell also gave some love to Tarek Black, saying the receiver made plays, and mentioned offensive lineman Kyle Shaw, noting that has been with the team since day one, has been durable, been out there for every single rep in camp, and got real snaps tonight. High praise for a guy who's been grinding in the shadows. As for rookie offensive tackle Blake Miller's debut, Campbell was appropriately cautious, saying he'd need to watch the film before making a real judgment.
Well, until I really watch the film, I can't make a true judgment. I'll tell you this, though. I didn't feel like my eyes were ever on here, Larry, and that's a positive. You know, like I thought that means that's a pretty good sign. Like, man, they're handling their business, because I didn't feel like we had any issues on the perimeter.
But he did offer one very telling comment. He said his eyes were never drawn to that side of the field all night, which in coach speak is actually a massive compliment. If you're not noticing the offensive tackle, it usually means he's not getting beat, and that's exactly the kind of quiet, steady debut you want from a rookie protecting the perimeter. Now let's get to the story of the night. Luke Altmaier's debut at quarterback. A reporter asked directly why Altmaier got pulled toward the end of the half, wondering if it was because of the fumble or simply the plan all along to get Josh Dobbs some run. Campbell cleared it up immediately, saying it had nothing to do with the turnover. The plan from the jump was always to get Dobbs some second-quarter representatives with the second-string offensive line, since Dobbs is new to the building and Campbell didn't want to just throw him in cold. Altmaier was always going to play the bulk of the game, and when it came to actually assessing Altmaier's performance, Campbell lit up again. He said he thought Altmaier did a really good job, though he was careful not to overhype a young player too much, joking that he doesn't want to give him too much sugar and rot his teeth out. But then Campbell kept praising him anyway. He talked about the composure Altmaier showed, saying the moment never looked too big for him, and praised his accuracy, specifically calling out his touch on deep balls. Campbell said it's the kind of thing you feel from a guy in practice, and it was great to see it translate directly into a real game. As for the turnovers, Campbell wasn't worried, saying mistakes like that are actually a good thing to have now, because every player has to make them and learn from them at some point, especially at the quarterback position. Overall, Campbell called it a good debut for the rookie. The conversation also circled back to Skylar Gill-Howard, whose 4th down sack opened the entire highlight reel for the night. Campbell talked at length about his development, saying Gill-Howard is one of those young players who's conscientious with a serious approach, someone you genuinely only have to tell something once before it locks in. Campbell explained that the biggest question mark for Gill-Howard coming out of college was how he'd handle the physical grind of NFL trench work, the double teams, the dirty work, after playing in a college scheme that let him fly up the field with a much cleaner path to the quarterback. Campbell said it got tough on him early, going up against real NFL caliber players, but has progressively gotten better and better handling his own. Campbell even hinted that the coaching staff is deliberately moving him around on the defensive line to maximize his unique skill set, comparing it to how having different skill sets in a receiver room opens up what an offense can do schematically. The same logic, Campbell said, applies up front. Finally, Campbell addressed receiver Isaac Tesla's up-and-down night, which included a costly drop on a 4th down opportunity along with a pass that led to an interception. A reporter asked if Campbell needed to say anything special to make sure it doesn't spiral for the young receiver mentally. Campbell's answer was calm, experienced, and honestly pretty heartwarming. He said he remembers exactly what those early years feel like, wanting everything to click right away, and admitted that going into year 2, players can put a lot of undue pressure on themselves, especially when they genuinely want to be great, which Campbell says Tesla absolutely does. But Campbell said he doesn't feel like he even needs to step in much with Tesla specifically, calling him a headsy, confident guy who's good about just getting back to work. Campbell closed it out with a great line about how it's often a pendulum swing for young players, and that it usually just takes a couple of wins in critical moments, in practice or in games, before that confidence skyrockets right back up. His final verdict: T.E. Sly is going to be just fine. So there you have it, straight from Dan Campbell himself. A loss on the scoreboard, but a night full of real, tangible development from Altmaier's poised debut, to Saylor's breakout performance, to Gill-Howard's fourth down heroics. Preseason football isn't about wins and losses, and Campbell made that crystal clear tonight. Let me know in the comments which player's performance excited you the most after hearing Campbell's breakdown. And if you're loving this level of honest, in-depth Lions coverage, we are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers here on Detroit Scope, and I need your help getting us over that finish line. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and let's go Lions!